Hello everyone, I'm Shamaita Nag, your host today for Tea Talks with Teachers. This is the session where we talk with our professors of NSHM Knowledge Campus. We chit chat a little bit, we get to know them on a deeper level. So today I have here with me Professor Mahul Brahma, who is the Dean of NSHM Media College. And how are you, sir, today?
I'm good, Shamaita.
So, for my first question would be, did you always know that you would one day become a dean of a college, or you had different aspirations for your career?
The answer in one word is no. I started my career as a journalist, rose to the level of a chief editor, and then I moved to the corporate. So for 10 years I was with journalism, for 10 years I was with the corporate, and then I moved into academics, and therefore I became a dean after that. Once I moved into an academics as a dean with the university and now with NSHM Media School. So, no, I didn't, honestly.
Okay. So, as a fresher back then, when you started out, what was your mindset like, and what was your first job?
So, I graduated from St. Xavier's College in economics, and then I joined Calcutta University Economics Department. Uh, Now, while I was doing my master's in Calcutta University Economics Department, I was also hired into a full-time job with the Economic Times newspaper, the Times of India group. And I joined ET as a copy editor, so that was my first job. So my schedule for the masters was that from 9 o'clock, my classes used to start, go up to 2:30. And from 4 o'clock, my shift would start at ET and would go on till 1:30 or so in the night. So I would come back and start the day again. Only there was one day off. I remember Saturday was a day off for ET, and the university used to be closed on Sundays. But Sunday was a working day for me. So it was a fantastic experience. You know, those 2 years were the most taxing, excruciatingly painful, and but it was a fantastic experience. You know, for that day and age to understand the value of being able to work at the biggest newspaper in the country, and to have it as the first job, and not even as a trainee but as a copy editor directly. The pressure of the job, the excitement of the job. See, journalism is a high adrenaline job, and it gives you a real high when you finish your day and you finish the newspaper. And you know that what you've done will be read by people in the morning. So you have access to news earlier than your readers. And you are basically picking and choosing news for them. So it's a different high, it's a different adrenaline. As the first job, I don't think I would ever replace that feeling, that experience with anything.
Thank you for your answer, sir. So nowadays we see a lot of people, especially young people, quitting their job in the first 2-3 months because of the culture and the
Right,
work
right,
pressure. So how
right,
would you advise them to cope up with the pressure of working in a high-paced
right.
setting?
See, what happens is usually most of the workplaces, the competition has increased a lot. So most of the workplaces are have become rather very high pressure, high stress areas. Coping with stress is a self mechanism. You know, it doesn't depend on the external environment, but it depends on how you manage yourself. Whenever you get an opportunity in the industry, and this is for a fresher, I need to tell them, and I always used to guide them that way, that whenever you get your first job, make sure at least 2 years you spend there, because you're not used to a work environment, you're used to an institutional environment, and in an institution, no matter what you think, you are protected. You're protected by your faculty members, you're protected by the institution. And when you're out there, you have to deliver, and industry is supposed to be ruthless because they have to make money, they have to survive. So therefore, you may not be a performer from day go, but it is very, very important to be diligent, to be resilient, and to carry on. That experience, when you don't like something, and you go beyond your likes and dislikes, because the right thing to do is to continue with the job that you've got. Because the experience that you get, the expertise that you get is priceless. It's very easy to like something and do it. It's very difficult to go beyond that like and dislike and do the right thing. And whenever you get your first opportunity in the industry, please understand you don't know the industry. You can't be sure that if you leave a place and go to the other place, that place will be better than this. For that, you have to give it some time. If you give 10 years to an industry, then you know the industry better. Then you can say, so today when I am here, I can say that, okay, A was better, B was, B could have been better if this was done and all that. But imagine when I joined the Economic Times as my first job, I didn't know what happens in the newsroom. So for me, that was the first experience. Okay. So it's very important for a fresher to understand that at the end of the day, the industry has given them an opportunity, and that opportunity needs to be respected. So whatever comes should be taken as a learning experience, as a learning curve.
Okay, so thank you so much for your insightful answer. That has given me personally a lot to think about. So, what is the one piece of advice for a fresher starting out in their career, how to survive the first 2 years of a hectic job?
See, first of all, the problem that a fresher faces, and I've spoken to so many and hired so many when I was with the Tata Group, heading 3 verticals of communications, branding, CSR, and publications. The first challenge that in my conversations I've seen with the freshers is that they get on board with a lot of expectations, and what are these expectations? These expectations have come from maybe cinema, maybe somebody has joined some other organization and they have talked about it, but they are all projection of your limited information. Because you are in an institution, from an institution you are going to the industry. So you actually don't know what happens in the industry, right? So what you know is based on some bits and pieces of information, and you project it as, so my ideal workplace would be like this and that and all. So the moment you have an ideal workplace in your mind, and you keep comparing what you're getting on a day-to-day basis, that your manager or your lead is kind of pressurizing you to deliver, even if you've done a good job, nobody pats your back and says, great job done. That is where the dissatisfaction stems. So even in a good work environment, if you don't feel appreciated, there's a dissatisfaction that stems. But the point is, in the industry, there are targets. And everybody is trying their best to meet those targets. Okay. These targets make sure that you make your money, you survive, you are able to pay the salaries and all that. Now, what I always tell them is that, see, you come here, you do a job, you get paid. Now, imagine if after a month's work, and they pat you on your back and say you've done a great job and not pay you, would that be acceptable? Of course not. So while it is important for managers or leaders to be more appreciative and empathetic, and there's a term called servant leadership. So where you basically work with the team and try to solve a problem. But workplaces aren't ideal, like institutions. There is no ideal place ever. The ideal place is in your mind. Okay. So don't create these images. Don't go with certain expectations. Go with a single-minded approach that I have got an opportunity in the industry and therefore I need to make full use of that. And I always say, so suppose you are hired for a X job and say there is a need in the company that you need to do X plus delta, some other job that you have to do. Be the first one to jump for it. Don't think that, no, I'm just getting paid this, I should not be doing this, they need to increase my salary and all that. So look at it as an opportunity. So I'll give you my example in my previous organization. It's a Tata Group company. And so when I joined the company, I joined as the head of corporate communications and branding. Now, after 2 years, so I was reporting to the managing director. The managing director said that, why don't you take up CSR? And not CSR communication. CSR is corporate social responsibility.
Right.
And it's a statutory thing that you have to do under Companies Act and all that. So I learned the entire thing because there are legal ramifications. I took it up. I didn't tell him that, no, I have no experience in CSR. I'm a communications person. Why are you engaging me in CSR operations? Not only CSR communication, the entire operation. So I had to report to the board of directors. So I took it up. After 2 years, the entire publications business came to me. Okay. And it had sales role. So, and I had not done sales ever. Now, the thing is that because I never said no, of the 10 departments, I was heading 3. You're getting my point. So naturally, the criticality of my role has increased. And now the company knows if there is any requirement of an emergency where somebody needs to lead a segment, I'll be the one they'll come to. Okay. So naturally, in the process, I learned CSR, I learned sales, I learned how to manage a business, how to make a business viable. And more so, I learned more about the organization and its different businesses. So look at the responsibilities that you're getting, additional or otherwise, as a learning curve, as a learning experience. And you'll never, ever regret it.
Okay. That was certainly a lot to think about. So people definitely do have certain ideologies in their mind. I think especially nowadays on Netflix, Amazon, we see certain workplaces which are absolutely ideal and flying unicorns basically, but in the real workplace there's a mismatch of expectations, so that's where the dissatisfaction comes from, as you mentioned.
Right.
So the idea is to manage expectations and show up for the work. That's all you said.
Right.
Wow. Thank you so much, sir, for the sound advice. The next question would be, where do you see this college NSHM in the next 5 years?
And this will happen before 5 years. NSHM is in the process of becoming a university. So very soon we will be a full-fledged university from a college. There are multiple advantages of being a university in terms of your freedom in curating your curriculum and in a lot of other things. So NSHM will become a leading university in the eastern part of the country in the next 5 years, I'm sure. But if you ask for the media school, because I can tell you about the media school. So this media school under NSHM or after it becomes a university, whichever the process is. But if you ask me about the media school, my vision in the next 5 years is that the media school, the NSHM media school, will become, a school of ideas and thoughts. So what my students, my faculty will be discussing will not be people, will not be issues, will not be concerns, but will be new ideas, new thoughts, innovation, and that I aspire to. I know I won't be able to do it overnight, but that I aspire to inculcate within the DNA of every student or every faculty of NSHM Media School. That we need to innovate, we need to talk about new things, new ideas, new breakthrough in the area of media, communication, films. I mean, the two departments that we handle. And I see more departments adding, more interdisciplinary work happening, and definitely the media school becoming the best in the country.
Wow.
And I have absolute confidence on my students. I know they're going to do well. I know they're going to make us proud, and I am very proud of them.
Okay, so on that note, the new batch of students are joining us this semester, the media batch. What advice would you give them? How can they make the best out of their college life at NSHM?
Oh. Um, so the special thing about this batch is that they are the first batch of NEP 2020, the New Education Policy 2020. They are the 4-year undergraduation batch. And so they are a very privileged batch because they are the debut batch. And I am very excited to see their growth path here. What they should do is that they should attend all the classes and be on time, study. You should have fun, but you should not have fun during study time.
Okay.
So that is my expectations from them, and be regular in terms of their examination and all that, and make the most out of it. See, I always, I've told you also, I've told all my students that you also need to intellectually challenge your faculty. Today the pedagogy has become very dynamic. It is the innovation that you bring in teaching learning that cannot happen without the active participation or engagement of the students. I'm a fellow of Bath Business School in UK, and so when I was there assessing their pedagogy, their teaching learning, and taking classes there, and also engaging with the faculty members, telling them what best they can do. I'm just back 2 weeks ago, and so all their assessment is using critical thinking. So they will only give you high order thought questions, hot questions. So hot questions means that there's something called a Bloom's taxonomy, where basically you will be questioned on your understanding of it, the application of it. Okay, so how critically you are able to look at content, how critically you are able to assess content, how critically you are able to think. Okay, so they will not be asking you definitions. They will not be asking you questions which are straightforward. They will be asking you questions where you will be forced to apply yourself. Okay, so even if they are open book or open Google examinations, you will not get an answer there.
Right.
So all their assessments are like that, and they're very, very strict about it. There's a concept called flipped classrooms. Flipped classrooms is where maybe 7 days or 10 days prior, you're given the note, you are given the content, and then when you come to class, the conversation that you have with the teacher after you know the content of the note, or you've seen the relevant videos and all that, that becomes an evolved conversation. It is not that the teacher telling you are listening and you are taking notes. It's very backdated. In the new form of teaching, in the new form of pedagogy, it doesn't work anymore. Okay, so you need to have that evolved conversation with these teachers. You need to, the teachers also, the faculty also needs to transform themselves, and this is my request to all the faculty members, is that you also need to transform yourself from a teacher to a mentor. Once that transformation happens, then you will exactly know the holistic need of the student. Then the student will engage more, and therefore you also will be excited to come to a class. And that engagement needs to happen. That engagement needs to increase, and that engagement will result in better quality students.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. So that ends our question answer round. Next up, we have a rapid fire round for you, sir.
Okay.
Shall we start?
Yeah, please.
So the first question is Jack of all trades, master or master of one, generalization or specialization, fastest way to success?
See, the point is you need to understand that when you start off as a specialist. Okay. So as a specialist, you grow. But beyond the point, you have to uh, generalize to specialize. So you have to generalize because see, look at the managing director of a company. Oh, or look at the chief mentor in NSHM. He has to be aware of the academics across segments. He has to be aware of HR. He has to be aware of finance. He has to be aware of administration, the building, everything he has to take care of. Okay. Now, if he tells, if he says that I'm a specialist, I can't do it. It doesn't work. So, as a specialist, you need to be a specialist, but as a specialist, you only rise to a certain level. Beyond that, when you want to get into, especially in the corporate, beyond that, not only in corporate, in media, everywhere, if you want to rise beyond that to the senior management position or the senior editorial position, then you have to be a generalist. So that's why you have the term called general manager. So once you become a general manager and above, you are in a senior management position, okay? The general manager, because you have to know the overall business, how the business works, or you have to know the overall operations, process, and so until unless you go out of that mindset, you will not be able to succeed and rise. So you'll be stuck at a point because you're a specialist. So if you remember the example that I gave you, that when I was given the CSR role or the sales role, at the publications business, which is basically managing a business, had I told the MD that no, I am a specialist in communication, I'm the head communications, corporate communications. So I'm a specialist. So communications is my domain, brand is my domain. I will not go out of my domain and do sales or do CSR or do other things. I would have been stuck. You're getting my point? Right. So you basically, after your specialization, then you have to generalize and, to reach the next level of, and this is the senior most level of your hierarchy of your ladder.
So start out as a generalist, no, start out as a specialist and rise up as a generalist.
So specialize to generalize.
Okay. Next question, having a mentor is essential to your success in life, true or false?
Absolutely. True. Very true, very true. You need a mentor. You need multiple mentors actually, because not everybody is in a position to guide you at different stages of your life. So at multiple points of time, you need to have a mentor and take his or her guidance. It's a must. You need to seek your mentor, you need to identify your mentor and work with your mentor to succeed. It's very important.
Next up, books or movies?
Books.
More work experience or higher degree, better chance at a head start in career?
When you're studying, you need to continue your study and till the time you want to, wherever you want to reach, you need to continue till that when you're studying. In my case, as I was telling you, after my graduation, I joined the industry, and during my masters, I was full time with the Economic Times. But I was first class third in Calcutta University, so I did well. But what happened is that I continued with my career as a journalist. I didn't do a PhD then. I did a PhD actually 10 years later. Now, whether it was necessary for me to do a PhD or not, it wasn't. I was in the corporate, it was not necessary, but it helped. When I made the transition to academics, it helped. And now this is a postdoctoral fellowship that I'm doing with, Bath Spa University, Bath Business School in UK. You should never stop learning. You should never look at learning as only accumulation of degrees. Learning is happening everywhere. This interview that you are taking is a learning for you.
Definitely.
Okay. So you need to be look at learning. So you have to be a lifelong learner. Okay. Throughout your life, you need to learn. Degree accumulation helps because it does give you a head start. But experience cannot be replaced with pure academics. So you need both, a mix of both. A mixture of both. It's very important.
So, sir, we know that you have also acted in films. So, how has that experience been? So, backstage, before the interview, we were talking about a Cannes Film Festival. So, can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah. So, I love acting, and I was in the Cannes Film Festival. My film was selected and screened there in the short film corner, and this was 2016, and it was a fantastic experience. Cannes is it's a very professional, very organized system, the way they run it, and it's really an honor to be selected to get to screen your film there, to be a part of that group. It's just like it's like a mela, a mela of films, and I was lucky enough to meet Jim Jarmusch there, and he's a very well-known director, and Maria Cotillard, the actress there. The best part is the excitement. People are so excited to be in the business of films, in the creativity of films. So it's a different environment out over there. In the evenings, you have these yacht parties. I remember there was one of the yachts. George Clooney was having a party. I didn't meet him, but I was told that he was having a party there. It was a great experience. So I loved acting, and so I continued to act. Recently, a feature film called Aparajito was released, where I have acted by director Onik Datta. And I've done 2 films with Onik, and the first film was with Mr. Soumitra Chatterjee. So it was a great experience to work with a legend. But yeah, acting and directing. So I have directed a short film called Post It, and it was showcased in World in Film Festival, short films, and so it's a part that I quite like, being a part of the creative process, and I hope that I will be, I could guide the students in such a way that they also can get into they understand the business side of films, because until unless you understand the business side of films, you will not know how to survive as a filmmaker. It's very important to know that, and to grow as a filmmaker. So I quite cherish that part of my life.
Thank you, sir. Next up, this is a final question. Academia, corporate, film industry, or journalism, your best experience as a professional?
I would give you a very politically correct answer in this, because see, in journalism, when you're a journalist, it's a high adrenaline job. It's a high, it gives you a high to be a journalist. I've enjoyed my journalism days a lot. In the corporate, it's very structured, and I love structure. I love discipline. And in the Tata Group, I was very lucky to be in that kind of a setup. So I quite liked that when I was in the corporate. In academics, it's very dynamic, and I like dynamism. It's as the dean, it's a new journey for me. And I'm quite liking this new journey because these are, there are unknown challenges, and that teaches you a lot. Okay. And, I have been an author for over a decade. I've written 8 books. And I love writing the most. Okay. But at the same time, I like doing a lot of things. So I would continue doing a lot of things. And as I said, it's very difficult to pick one from all this because each has its own charm. And until unless you do it, you will only have a notion.
Right.
Notions don't help. They just create a false thought process, that gives you a very wrong sense of reality. You should try it. So try a lot of things, and then whatever you love, continue with that. You may love multiple things at multiple points of your life. As you grow old, your taste preferences change. You change as a person. Every 7 years, biologically, you completely change. Every cell of your body renews. So you are never the same person. So because you're never the same person, your likes, dislikes, everything changes. So you may like a lot of things altogether.
So you did not give us an answer, which was a very diplomatic answer in itself, but we can definitely identify which one was your favorite by the tone of your voice when you spoke of them. So thank you so much for the session, sir.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Please take care.
Thank you. With this, we conclude the session with Professor Mahul Brahma. Hope you liked the episode, and I will be back for the next one. Thank you.